All right, so welcome everyone to our best practices for student engagement in remote and online learning, kind of a long title, but we wanted to make it clear that what we wanted to talk about was a little bit of like, what we found has worked well and has not worked so well in what we've been doing. So we wanted to really go a little bit beyond introducing you to the tools. And so we want to focus on three different formats, and we are going to talk about the tool we have used, but you'll see that a lot of what we talk about can be done with many other tools or apps. And so we want to talk about Screencast-O-Matic, Flipgrid, and quizzes. So we'll start with the first one. So I use Screencast-O-Matic, but the tool really is just screen capturing. And I really spent some time looking at some things over summer and learned that, students really benefit from videos, which I kind of already know. But what I didn't really know was the difference in effectiveness from the three types of videos. And so it seems that videos work no matter how they're done. But if it's a video that you just, pulled off YouTube or found somewhere else and it's made by a different instructor, those tend to be the least effective for teaching and learning. What is more effective is a video that the instructor made so that the students really recognize that it's you who's doing this. And of course, one of the advantages of that is that you can really make it fit to what you're teaching and that it fits with your content and your outcomes and all that. And then the most effective is videos that are made for one specific group of students, so that you really in your videos refer to things that have come up in a previous session, that you call on students by name and things like that. So I'm a great fan of the middle kind. Unfortunately, I feel like I do not have the time, the energy to remake all my videos every semester. Now, I do individualized videos, and I'll talk about that in just a minute, but I use those in a different way. And so there's lots of different tools you can use for this. So I actually started out with narrated PowerPoints. And they work okay, but then of course you're stuck with just having a PowerPoint, which is not always the best tool to use to make your videos. And the other ones I explored was OBS Studio, which I just find way too complicated. I think of myself as someone who has fairly decent tech skills, and that just, it was too much. There's also Camtasia, but it's my understanding that if you want that to work decently, it's quite expensive. And so I settled on Screencast-O-Matic, which I have since learned the college has actually purchased. We just haven't rolled it out yet. So that should be coming. And then we will all get this. Now, there is a free version, which I've used for the longest time, and I think it's perfectly fine. There's actually very few differences with the paid version. But if you do want to go with pay, the advantage to that is I think it's only like $25 for a year. It's really user-friendly, so I just took a screenshot of what it looks like. And so you see, you open it up and you have the chance of just capturing your screen. You can also do your webcam, which I'm way too shy for, or you can do both. So you can have your screen and then yourself in the corner in a little box at the bottom. I tend to always just use the screen. And then you pretty much hit, you have a frame and you can drag that and make that bigger and smaller, and it will capture anything that's in that frame. And then you hit record and it starts, and that's it. And when you can pause it and you can end it. It does have editing features, but I found that it's usually just easier to start over and re-record than to try to edit the video. I do run all of these through a YouTube channel. The advantage to that is the bandwidth. So if you make this video, they become MP4s and they are pretty large. And so if you then just load those into your Blackboard, students may have a bit of a hard time watching them. And so they may time out or get the little spinny wheel. And so much easier is to just upload it into YouTube and then post the link. What I also like about it is I go to my YouTube channel and I look at my tracking. Now, I on YouTube make just unlisted videos. So it's not that if you type it in, anything would come up. You have to have the link to be able to watch my video. But then the other reason I like that is for the closed captioning. So Screencast-O-Matic has closed captioning built in, but it is terrible.
I apologize for the late start of the technical issues.
Okay. Do we hear another presentation? Is someone not muted? Okay, thank you. So the closed captioning from YouTube is just much, much better. And that's one of the reasons I also like this and did not want to make my videos in Blackboard Collaborate, because then you don't have that closed captioning option. So what do I use them for? I make mini lectures, so 10 minutes or less. And they just kind of replace my mini lectures if I was teaching on campus. I mainly do it for complex concepts in the class. And so I make sure I post these with instructions. And that's one of the things that I've really learned that's important is I don't just post a video, but in Blackboard, I say, so this is a video on, or by watching this video, you will learn about X. Please make sure you pay attention when I talk about this. And I also explain, like, you know, why is that important? What will you do with it? So I say things like, you know, learning this will help you when you get to whatever the next topic is that ties to this. And students really need that kind of explicit list of directions, or really the explicit listing of why they should watch this to really make them do it. I can really tell a difference with ones that don't have such good directions in my views when I track it. I also use it for exercises. So I have the prompt up, I talk through it, I tell them what they should do. I generally model 1 or 2. I teach ESL. So let's say we're doing a lesson on the passive voice. I would explain in my mini lecture how it works and what it is, and then I'll have an exercise, and then I solve the first 2, just kind of like I would do on a board, and I tell students to pause their video, and when they are done, they click play again, and then I kind of talk them through the answers. Yes, of course, I know there's some of them that are not going to do it and just watch me, but I figure that's kind of the student's responsibility, and I just really say, you know, don't do that. You won't learn from anything from it. You have to do it. And so I just say solution. If it's things that have more than one right answer, I just gonna say, so just many answers possible here. But if you said something like X or Y, you're on the right track. So I find that it's not just with things that have one right answer. You can really just give students an idea of what kinds of answers you're looking for. And then I also use it to give assignment feedback. So I only do this for complex assignments, and they're 2 to 3 minutes on average. Sometimes if it's a really good assignment, it's just like 1 minute long. And I think so far that has really been my most successful use of screen capturing. So my results for my mini lectures, of course, they're most successful with an online class, because then students really tend to watch them. But I find that they also work in my structured remote. So I sometimes play them even during a session, like while I'm teaching, rather than redoing it live, I just play the recording. I find that it helps me with making sure I captured everything, and it kind of frees me up a little bit more to watch what's going on with my other students, questions that pop up in the chat box. It's easier to say, oh, can you mute yourself, and things like that, than rather when I'm trying to do this live. After the session, so in case a student missed the class, I just tell them, go watch the video, it's posted. And students also seem to really like it, that they can just go find something real quick and real easy that's specific. So it seems hard sometimes to go wade through these BBCU recordings, because you know, they're not labeled, they have the date, so then the student has to remember what day we talked about this. And it's just easier to look at the module in Blackboard, see what the topic was, and find the video that way. And they just seem to find it easier, especially also we teach half semester courses, and so we have 4-hour sessions. So what you'll see is my Blackboard Collaborate recording. There's sometimes 4 or 5 with the same date. And so this is just much easier for students to locate, and they use it as study guides. So my exercises, I find that these are great for guided practice. So I do that to post exercises, and I find that my structured remote it takes longer than teaching on campus. You lose time with, is everyone muted? And you're still muted when you give the answer. So I find that I am struggling with covering as much as I would if I was face to face. So this offers me an opportunity to still have that teaching time in there, but students can more do it out of class. And then if it takes them longer, I don't have to, wait for everyone. And we sometimes do like the first 3 sentences in class all together. And then I do like 3 more. And then I say, you know what, there's 5 more just like this. Go to the video if you want extra practice. It also helps if your students miss class. I find that it's helpful for those that don't have a textbook or have a textbook yet, or have a used textbook. So we're very lucky, at least in our area, all our textbooks, the publishers made an e-copy available for us. So what I do is I do a lot of just screen snippets, so the image of the blank exercise. And so I show this to the students, and then I can kind of talk about it. And it also really helps during structured remote that I can actually have a copy of the book up. And it really helps cutting down on those, what page are we on? Questions, because they can just see it. And then we have students who have used textbooks. So our textbooks have fill-in exercises. And then if they have used textbook, the answers are there. So they can go to these video exercises where they can then just see a blank copy. So the assignment feedback, I just talk them through it. And it is kind of similar to if I would meet with a student in my office to talk about their assignment. And it just helps to have that screen capturing, because I can refer to different sections of the text and things like that. One other thing that we know that these screencasting tools are very effective with is on your Blackboard site at the beginning of the semester to kind of make a guided tour. So you just kind of walk your students through it in like 5 or 10 minutes, and you say, so like, you know, when you sign on, what you're here, this is the announcement section. I use this too. And then click on start here, what you see here, this does this. And so you just can kind of do that. I haven't done that. And somewhere I said I was going to do it, and in fall I was going to do it again, and then, you know, just ran out of time. But it's definitely on my to-do list for spring. I've seen some of our colleagues do it, and it's absolutely wonderful. So what I found has really helped. Make sure you have a visual. So it's really helpful to have a document up and kind of talk through it. When I make these videos, I do plan like a basic script, because otherwise I figure out halfway through, oh, I should have covered this earlier, or I should have said this earlier, or I forgot about this. So I do write it down. A lot of things I read about it was to accept that messy is okay. So it doesn't have to be perfect. We're not making perfect recordings. We don't have to really like think of this as done in a recording studio. So on some of them, you hear my dog walk past. So there's tap, 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 tap in the background. You hear my phone go off for, you know, half a ring, and then I click it off, but I don't re-record because otherwise it just is too time consuming. So I have read that students really love that instructor in picture format. They love to see us, and I haven't done it, but I can see it. And I know that we're all struggling with having them turn on their camera. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm also not turning on my camera. So I am planning on being better at that. We do need to keep in mind it takes time. So you can't do them all in one semester. I made a couple the first semester. I'm making a couple more this semester. And like you heard, I have plans for next semester. We do need to teach students what these are and how to use them. Don't just say, go watch a video. We really, especially with those embedded exercises, I found that I needed to take time to tell students about them. And then just like with everything, I think it's important to make it interactive. So I ask questions and I pause for a second to make them think about it. I put those exercises in there. It's not just you can watch and passively absorb. So, and then my final point about this is I just wanted to share like one of those assignment feedback videos so you can kind of visualize it. It's one I remade because I realized I had none of them without a student's name on it. So it is pretty close to what I actually sent through. So here we go.
Hi, Holly. This is again a nicely written paragraph. You have a nice clear title, you have a good introductory sentence, and then a nice clear topic sentence that talks about what this paragraph is, right? A process paragraph. Then you have good supporting ideas with nice detailed sentences. Just a couple of things. One, for your layout, you are just missing a blank line here. Remember that between our header and the title, there should be a blank line. And then a couple of things here. The word researchers, that's not the right word for it. So think about what would be a related word that fits better here. Then people, that's not quite the right word here, right? It's not very clear who these are. Are these the coworkers, the classmates, the friends? So people is not quite right here. Next here, analyze the data. We wouldn't quite say it like this here.
So just to illustrate, and so as you can tell, I do a lot of ums and I don't re-record for that. Sorry, just can't do it. And then you just heard my dog bark again. I just couldn't re-record for it. So if it's not really all that disruptive, I just kind of keep going. But I find having that screen there so I can point to things and move around really helps. And in 1 to 2 minutes, I can just cover a lot. And the students really, if I forget one or I'm a bit delayed on the videos, they email me and ask for these. Right. Any questions so far? All right. Our next tool is Flipgrid.
All right, I guess I'll introduce it because you have the exercise for them to do. All right, I don't know if any of you have tried Flipgrid. Have you? Has anyone here tried it? You can tell me in the chat box. Yeah. All right, so I've got one or two yeses and a few no's, and yeah, the kids. I know, I learn a lot of these things from my son, watching how he learns in school. All right, so Flipgrid is a free and easy to use recording and playback platform where students can record videos from 15 seconds to 10 minutes in length. The teachers had set up, and it is great for student-to-student interaction. It's also great for doing any kind of speaking assessment because you can set it where just the instructor will view the material. Because you're recording people, Flipgrid provides a recording permission form that you can require. And essentially, you're giving them a topic. You can record a short video, or you can take a snippet of a video that was already created on the web. You have your students watch it, and then you instruct them how to reply. And again, they'll reply using their device, recording their response. And then the students can listen and talk to each other. So if you use VoiceThread in Blackboard, it's kind of like that, but with video. You know VoiceThread, right? It's our asynchronous voice discussion board. This is an asynchronous video discussion board, but it's not just BBCU. It's a Microsoft product, or at least connected with Microsoft. So you can make connections with teachers all over the world. So if Iris is teaching French, like she does sometimes, she can actually get French grid pals in France who are working on their English, and the students can have a back and forth that way. Or if you're learning math or engineering here, you can make a connection with a math and engineering on the other side of the world and work on projects or problems together. And so that's what Flipgrid is essentially. And Iris is gonna tell you how to set it up. And I think she has an example to show you how it works.
So it does require that students have a Google Mail or a Microsoft Mail to sign on. Otherwise, you can have instructors add their students, and it does allow you to just upload like a file, a list of participants. So the way you set it up is you create a class and then you create a topic, and then you can either share a link or a QR code with the participants. So unfortunately, you cannot mix and match. So you cannot say like, here's my set of students, and then I have some guests and I want them to add on. That doesn't work. You can do private, so just with your students, or you can do that public. So like Holly was saying, then you can meet with other people all over the world. So use it in language classes. You can have students watch a video they created or chosen by the teacher, summarize. They can respond, because that's the nice thing, is you can really have back and forth conversations. You record an initial video and then you can post all kinds of replies to this video. It's a great thing also to have students make a video explaining things, and then others can watch peer reviews, and then you can connect with classrooms all over the world. So let's try it. So you can either do this on your computer by going through this link, and I should have copied that first. Let me put that in the chat box for you. There you go. Or you can use the QR code. Let me go back to sharing my screen. You can just open your camera on your phone, hover it over it, and that should pop you right into it. So you can either just do a, hold on, it's not letting me share my screen. So you can either just go in and do a hello. Hold on, I'm sorry, it's not letting me screen share at the moment.
I think it's not in the chat.
Well, it should help if I click enter, right? There we go. Right here. And now it should be back to screen sharing. Can you all see the Flipgrid try it screen? Okay. So you can either just go and try and make a quick video that says hello, or you can think about how could you use this? So think about it, and in your video, tell us what the class is that you teach, how you would use it, and what you want your students to do. So for example, in my ESLO 102 class, which is grammar, I teach the passive. And so I have students create a sentence in the active voice. It has to be minimum 12 words long. And then they have to go to all their classmates, or to a few of their classmates. Sometimes I say, you know, post 3 replies. And they have to convert that active voice sentence to a passive voice. And then as an optional reply, what I encourage them to do is listen to their other students' answers. And if they find any kind of mistakes, that they should post another reply to the reply, talking about what they think is wrong and what the right answer should be. So let's try it. And while we do that, I want to show you what it looks like then on the instructor side. So I'll give everyone a chance to pull up the code. So here's what it looks like. And so once responses come in, we'll see them pop in live. So you just go there and click record a response.
I don't think I see your instructor view. I just
So
see
I just put the QR code back, and as soon as I'll see a video come in, I can go back to it. This is what it looks like from the instructor. Oh, there we go. Tonya posted a video. And so as the instructor, I can just see these come in then. Right there. And there's Latasha.
Still can't see it.
Karen, what are you seeing then?
The give it a try, you know, the way the QR code, the 1, 2, 3, like the presentation mode. I think when you, yeah.
Thank you. Yep, let me change. Sorry, I'm used to not sharing the application, but sharing the screen. Hold on. Where did it go? Right here. That should fix it. Can you all see?
Yes, now we
The
can see it.
videos I have. All right, thank you. Sorry about that. So see, there's already 5 there. And so as the instructor, what I do while my students do this, I tend to like spot check and see how they're coming in. And if they're short, I listen very quickly to a number of them and look at what common mistakes are. And then that's way to give feedback. We talk about it like this. All right. So feel free to play around with this. I will leave it up and active, so you can also then have a chance to listen to what your colleagues have said, how they think they would use it. And so it's pretty easy. Things we've learned. Some groups are very tech savvy and it works great. And other groups, it does not. And so what I found is helpful is that the first time I introduce it, we don't really do any real teaching or learning. We just do a get used to the app activity. So we just, I make one topic that says, come here and say hello. And then post a reply where you say hello back to someone else. And that really helped lowering the anxiety level. But so you really need to also spend some time in teaching students how this is used for teaching and learning. So why are we doing this? This is not just because it's fun and it's cool and it fills 5 minutes. You really have to talk about, so here's what I want you to do and here's what I want you to learn from this. It's important, again, to reassure students that it's okay to be messy. Every time I have videos of the recording of the ceiling or people that go like, is this working? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm recording. And that becomes a video. And then afterwards, they're embarrassed about it and they want it removed and all that. So I spend a good bit of time reassuring that it's okay. It always helps to post a model video. And especially if you are doing one of those in class where you have an activity and then they post an original video and they have to post a reply, for those students who are really fast and quick with it, it's handy if they then have a couple of videos from you that if they're done with theirs, they can instantly hop on some replies and you don't lose momentum. Giving feedback can be a challenge. So during the activity, again, it works if I have a good group, because then I can kind of listen while everyone records. If I am dealing with a lot of solving technical issues, I get to the end of my activity and I haven't seen a single video. After the video, so what they actually recommend from Flipgrid is that, you as the instructor afterwards go in and post replies and post comments. I don't use it in that formal a way, so I'm sorry, I think that's too time consuming for what I get out of it. So like I said, I spot check and then I generally give general comments. So like for the passive voice, it's just the same kind of thing that I would do if I have my students in class in small groups and I walk around and I listen and I hear the common mistakes, and then when we bring everyone back, we just talk about those. So I try to do it that way. I've played around a little bit with peer feedback, but I've not been very successful with that. So I find that that's just one step too far to make that really work in a reasonable amount of time and be of good quality. What I've also found is the app regularly changes, which is not great. So it looks slightly different from the last week you've used it, and the button is in a different place, and the button looks slightly different. And so that's not very helpful if you have a group who have medium to low tech skills. And then additionally, I found that some students, especially again, those with low tech skills, they just don't want to do it. They'll try it once, they try it maybe twice, they don't get it to work, and so they opt out of these activities.
And can I add one thing about it, Iris? So there are some concerns that have been coming through the chat box that I've been following, and some of which I've been responding to. One really good thing about Flipgrid is that it has a very easy to use screen capture and recording app as part of it. So you don't even have to use the student interactivity at all. Teachers can record videos up to 10 minutes long and very easily combine screen captures, live videos, still images, whiteboards, slides on which they draw, edit it, move it around, add emojis, add frames, and then save it as an MP4 and put it in pretty much anything. So for me, that's what I like about Flipgrid, that I've got this really easy to use editing program for making videos. And the 10-minute time limit makes me have to do pedagogically appropriate mini lectures. It forces me to end. It's just so easy to use, and it has so many tools. I mean, I like the things that Iris was showing before, like Screencast-O-Matic. I use my PowerPoint, my audio all the time. But this tool for integrating screen capture, video, slides, and images, and for free, it's pretty cool. And that's pretty much what I'd say about it. And then I put a lot of other things in the chat box.
I'll add a few things to the chat box for things I see that are still coming up. But Holly, shall I move to the next slide?
Sure. All right. So anybody who has worked with me or even gotten, I don't know, within 100 feet of me at the school knows that I really love quizzes. And you've heard of it. Some of you have, some of you haven't. Some of you have been to sessions where I talked about it and said, you have to use this. All right. Has anybody here tried quizzes or had me inflict my love of quizzes on you in another session? Anyone here use quizzes? You know what it is? Yeah, it's great. Isn't it, Ashante? It's awesome. Okay. So see, we have a couple of people who already know it's great. And then we have people who don't yet, but you will. All right. People usually will say to me, okay, what is this thing? And I'll say, well, it's an online tool for making competitive quiz games. And then they say to me, but Holly, we use Kahoot, or but Holly, we use Socrative. I'm like, yeah, you do. All right. But like those, this is highly motivational. Like I said, it can be used competitively, which some of our students respond very well to. It has a timer, it gives points, more points for quick answers, fewer points for slow answers, as a live leaderboard. We can turn on customizable memes for incorrect and correct responses for feedback. We can also turn that off if we feel like it's a little too silly for our kids. But I tell you what, I have adults in my classes. I teach ESL with Iris. I've got people who are up to my own age. I'm not telling you how old I am, but it's old because I have a 17-year-old boy. All right, they ask me for this every week. They don't care that it's a little bit kid-like. They find it so fun. They love it. If you've looked at quizzes in the past and you haven't looked at it recently, they have updated it and added new features. So we can do now multiple choice. We can do fill in the blanks. We can have polls. We can have text box responses. That's like our multiple answer in Blackboard. And we can even have short answers that the teacher would have to look at later. It was actually one of the first quiz game tools to allow live or homework. Okay, that was one of the problems Kahoot users used to have, was being able to assign things as homework. Kahoot, you can do it now in a ghost mode, but this has always been made where you can do it live, you can do it as homework, you can do it instructor paced, where the instructor releases each question one at a time, as in Kahoot, or student paced. So it can be either one. And what's also nice, not for me, I couldn't care less because I'm an English teacher, but it does have mathematical equation functionality. So yeah, math doesn't like me very much, but math is extremely important for our students. And, you know, I have math teachers who are attending this session. So this can support the symbols that you would use in calculus, for example. All right, so that makes it fun as well. I know Bonna's laughing at me. Okay, because he's out there. He's one of the teachers I tell all my students, look for this guy, take his math. All right, from long ago. So you would like it, Bonna. I think that you'd have fun with it. There's a premium version that you can buy at $60 a year, and you can then add audio or video to the questions and to the feedback that you give them. Right now we can add images. It's a lot more robust than Zoom poll. And I actually have a sample quiz that we can try so that you can see. And I'm really just going through it quickly to let you know that it's out there, to let you know that it exists. All right, but it can do a lot more. So I'm going to actually post a link in the chat box. Just make sure you open it in a new tab and, you know, don't close your Zoom and leave us. And I have 4 sample questions so you can see sort of how this works. So let me just get that link for you. I had to wait until we were ready because the thing with it is if we're playing the live version, it's, well, live. I have to set it up in class. And when I'm setting it up, I could actually, I wonder if I can share my screen and show people how I set this up. I can try. If it doesn't, that's okay. I don't care. Yours is fine. All right, let's see if it's going to let me show you what I see when I go in here.
Yeah, I just had to stop sharing, so you should be able to screen share now.
I'm in control now.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right, so anyway, when I'm in, can people actually see my quizzes? Because, you know, I don't know.
Yep.
So when I'm in quizzes, these are all my quizzes. And what's really nice about quizzes is I don't have to make my own quizzes. Thousands and thousands of other teachers have shared their quizzes. So if I were to wake up in an alternate universe having to teach calculus, which would be like, I don't know, the 7th circle of hell, I would be able to take a calculus quiz from somebody else. So these are the ones that I've made. And so you can see that they're here and it's very easy to use. And if I want to start a live quiz, I would go classic, where students are at their own pace, or instructor paced. My students prefer classic. So if I get that started, it's going to look like that. And you can see I can do different things. And I have a lot of settings. So I can say that we would shuffle questions or not. I can have power-ups and redemption questions to make this more like a video game. This is one of the first gamification tools that was available for teachers. All right, so they really want it to seem like a game. And then, like I said, we can have the memes if we want to be kind of silly, but if we're doing something that's a little more serious, I can turn that off. Now, I happen to like memes, and so I do it because they get a kick out of it, and I can hear my students chortling as we go. And then it's really simple. I get it set up, and then, oh, I accidentally went to it, which I should not have done because I am trying to talk. All right, but I'm going to get to you and put the link in there so that you know where to go. All right, I got to copy my link, got to get to Zoom. And I'm going to put this here. So if you can follow the link that I just put in there, and if you can do it on another device, that's helpful, but not mandatory. Because if I share my screen again, you'll see what it looks like when I'm waiting for students to come in. And if I get, oh, look at that, Iris and Maya and Marianne and Mary. Okay, I know who my top students are. And usually when my own students are getting into this, I do this kind of thing. I'm like, whoa, she's in here first. Bonus point for her. Okay, Tanya's here. What is that, a bat? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I keep up the chatter just so that they feel excited. All right. And like I said, I will post this for them to look at if they're on a second device. I'm going to start it whether people are ready or not. And you can see they've got a Halloween theme right now. All right, and hopefully you are seeing on your screen some questions and getting answers, and try to answer something wrong so you can see an incorrect meme in addition to a correct meme. And if you're doing it on a second device, you can see how The teacher has a leaderboard to encourage competition. I can, if I want to, look at the questions instead. If I feel that my students are going to be shy about it, you know, if they're showing that there's too many mistakes. And if I'm looking at the questions, I can sort by accuracy to see what's hard for them, what's easy for them. All right. So we can go on, and I'll keep up the chatter. I'm like, look at Maya, she's in first. Jay Potter, that was a close behind. And again, yes, my students are adults. They eat it up. All right. They have so much fun that they forget that they are practicing things that we did in class, like cause and effect or vocabulary. All right. So that all works. Now, I don't know if you're going to get to the math question. And if you do, like I said, I only think Bonna's going to get it right. I certainly wouldn't, but I did put one math question in there so that you could see that this can handle that. I could not answer that, you know, to save the universe, but it's there. Okay. All right. And so again, I can track the progress of everybody. Sometimes I'll go in and just give participation points to my students, but they don't usually need that carrot. The game itself is the carrot. Usually once I finish one game, they're like, teacher, don't you have any more? Miss Holly, can you make another for the next class? And I say, yeah, sure, I can. All right, so well, yours was the fastest, but you can also see green is the correct, red is incorrect. If somebody has a streak going, it'll keep that up for me. And when I end it, which I will do, now Lorraine's in first. I'm gonna see if it'll let me end it. It may not want me to. All right, it'll end automatically if everybody gets there. Oh, figures that my Zoom thing would be right in front of it. All right, let me see if it'll let me end. Come on, let me end. Yeah. All right, here's my problem. It won't let me end it because our chat windows are hiding it. But anyway, once we end it, it'll give us third place, second place, first place. And then what I can do, if only it would let me end it without being so mean. There we go. I had to guess where it was. So I'd say May is in third, Lorraine is in second, and Jay Potter coming in at first. Sometimes I'll even give an extra credit point for that. And then what I can do is I can review the questions with them. So I can review it, and I can either have it where it hides the answers or where it shows the answers. And as we go through, and again, I cannot see everything. I've got to hide our box. There we go. You know, as you can see, I can put an image. So the first one that I put is just an example of a multiple choice, single answer. Second one, again, I put an image. This one is a multiple choice, multi-answer. So they call it checkbox. Fill in the blank. I got some interesting things. All right. I can have just an image question. I can also put images in the answers. And oh my gosh, the math. 6 people got that right. Like, was that for real or were you guessing? All right. So again, I go through this with my students. It tells me the accuracy on the top right of the slide. So the ones where the accuracy is low, I take time and explain it. The ones where the accuracy is high, I don't have to. So as you can see, it is, I don't know, did you guys have fun? What did you think? You guessed, even I couldn't even guess based on the shape of the equation. That's beyond me. See, Shirley would get full credit. So if you think this is fun, and my students tell me it's fun, and I tell them they don't have to lie to me. They can tell me if they don't like it. It doesn't bother me if they don't. It's super, super fun, and that makes it motivating. It's very flexible. Yeah, I agree with Sharon. It is an upgrade to Kahoot in many ways. And those memes that you saw, I see. The memes that you saw at the end, those are customizable. You can also turn them off. So if you're teaching a class of students, have them share images for the memes. So pictures of you as the teacher. I know, Mary is like me. All right. you click on the meme. I mean, not click on the meme. You can make a picture. You can make your own meme. So, you know, I pick things that are related to my weird personality. But again, there are quizzes out there for everything. She had a 25% chance of getting it right. All right. So again, best practices. We can play the live version during class like we just did and review the questions. I then recommend that you post a link to a homework, which would be a different link. They can't use the same link again. But I will go back and check the reports because this integrates with Google Classroom. I can run all sorts of reports. You can absolutely make this anonymous, Denise. Didn't see that before. Quizzes can either assign crazy names, or I sometimes tell my students, give me your favorite superhero, tell me privately who you are if you want the credit. I also don't have to show the leaderboard. So everything that you saw, so the memes, music, which I always turn off because it drives me nuts, the timing of the questions, the anonymity, all of that can be toggled on or off. So yeah, a lot of times, yeah, I love the memes too, especially think about how fun it is if you personalize it to your class. Pictures of you looking happy or sad, pictures of your cat, pictures of my evil smelly dog, pictures of the students if they give permission. They just roll with this. Model it for the students the first time, but they pick it up and run with it. You know, tweak the settings to fit the needs of your class. Again, you know, I can make it more professional if I want to, but don't go overboard. Do they always have to sign in as something, Jackie? I can make it so that quizzes will automatically give them a fake name. Yeah. And I have a whole set of memes that I have created. And again, because I teach ESL, I make sure that culturally they'll understand. Other teachers share their meme sets, but some of them you have to have too much knowledge of American culture to get the joke. So I make sure to try to pick ones that they can kind of follow what I'm doing. All right. All right, Iris, you want to wrap it up? Iris is muted. I don't think she is. What are you doing?
All right. Well, we have 2 minutes left.
I know. We timed it well.
Any questions?
We're good at timing ourselves.
So
look,
here's
Shirley said it's fun. Yay.
Thanks. Thank you. So here's our email addresses. Not that you can't find us in Outlook, but if you have any questions, anything you would like us to share in addition or any further conversations, we're happy to continue the conversation or
and
share
if you and if you ever want me to come to your department meeting or something and tell them how amazing Quizzes is and teach people how to use it, I'd be happy to. And I'm sure that Iris and I would do Flipgrid or Screencast-O-Matic as well. But I love talking about this stuff. I can talk about it all day. Please do, Shirley. I'll be looking for it. And yeah, thank you, Paul, for coming and sticking with us.
Quick question for you both. In your experience, what's the learning curve for students on picking up on this stuff?
Our students? Are you kidding? The majority of them pick it up as if they were breathing. It is so easy for them. I mean, Quizzes is already designed to be easy to use in a K through 12 classroom anyway, but my students, when I first started using it, they understood it and would tell me what to do because it was just so clear. I mean, with Iris's screencast, they're just having to watch videos. So as long as they know how to get there and realize they need to pause, et cetera, it's fine. Flipgrid, I would say, had the biggest learning curve.
Yeah, I would say for Flipgrid, it generally takes me 3 uses. The first one is just here's the technology. The second one then is a combo of tech and starting to infuse content. And then, well, that's not quite what I meant. Because sometimes with the Flipgrid, you see they get super excited about the video part and go all out of that. And then they kind of slide and forget a little bit about covering the content that we had. So usually by the 3rd time, we're in a good place. Holly, one more question that I think hasn't been answered. Can we use Quizzes on the phone?
Yes, in fact, I think there's an app for it, but it works perfectly well on a phone or a computer. I just don't recommend that my students do it in the car when they're driving Uber, which they were doing again last night. Paul, driving Uber and in my class. Yeah, I've complained about this before.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you all also for the very nice comments in the chat box. Yeah, Nearpod, I find Nearpod very similar. Quizzes actually has a couple of nicer